diverse history of our city from its earliest days to the present. As a member, you'll receive the Argonaut, an award-winning publication that has provided in-depth historical accounts for over 30 years, and the Panorama, a quarterly newsletter covering ongoing activities and historical presentations. Go to sfhistory.org and discover the San Francisco Historical Society, giving our history a great future. Become a member today.
Walking into the building for the first time after the shooting, it was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love in its rawest form.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
For all contest rules, go to 957thegame.com/rules.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM at HD1 San Francisco. An Odyssey station.
Good morning, Diarrhea!
It's time to wake up. It's 5, and we're live.
Oh, is this thing on? I don't care. I want him to hear.
This is the Pregame Show, your early morning shot of sports on 95.7 The Game. Come on!
Oh, yes. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is the Pregame Show. I am Joe Spadoni. Monday crept up on us, Warriors fans. It did. It did. Tough loss yesterday in Los Angeles. Think we can get over it. Don't think it's the worst thing in the world. I know. Undefeated on the homestand. It seems like the sky is falling anytime you lose to the Los Angeles Lakers. That team, that franchise, those colors, that building. I get it. But let's not do anything drastic. Let's not go to Twitter and freak out. Everybody's got to keep your composure. All right? Shout out Will Ferrell, old school. Just got to stay composed. Think everything's going to be all right. But I'm in sports talk radio. Can't just be saying that for everything. That road record for the Golden State Warriors, 7-24 now. Not good. Not good. So we'll get into that. Again, this is the Pregame Show. I am Joe Spadoni. Welcome in, everybody. I hope you all had a beautiful, lovely weekend. Hope you did lots of fun stuff, whether it was just you solo dolo, you and the family, Mrs., boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, whatever. Whatever you guys were doing. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you stayed dry. Is this rain going away? Is it going to be raining all year long here in the Bay? Kind of feels like that. I think there's more rain in the forecast this week, too. So stay dry. Stay safe on the roadways. Be careful. Everything's going to be all right. 888-957-9570 is the number. If you would like to call or text said number, you could do both. 888-957-9570. If you would like to get involved in the program, would appreciate that. Love talking to you guys. YouTube, Twitch, hello. How you doing? We are up and running. If you would like to hit me up there, you absolutely can. Ernie Chavez, my guy. Good morning to the pre-gamers. Appreciate you, Ernie, for chiming in. And Twitter, @Spadoni_Joe. Give me a follow. Hit me up there. Can talk about it all. A lot happened this weekend. And you know what? The NBA, for as much flack as we have given it, and rightfully so, before the All-Star break, and it was bad. You've heard me and Shasky talk about it on the crossover every Monday through Friday at 5:45. But we were talking about how this is the worst NBA regular season we have seen in quite some time. It's just been bad. Injuries, a lot of blowouts, a lot of bad teams, a lot of bad play, no defense. No one cares. The urgency isn't there. Well, you're starting to see it, folks. After this All-Star break, post-All-Star break, if you will, the NBA has been pretty damn good. These games have been fun. Just look at yesterday. You had Phoenix going down to the wire against Dallas. They eke it out. Kevin Durant, big buckets, going up against his old teammate, Kyrie Irving. And then he had Devin Booker and Luka getting into it. So there was a lot of chippiness there. A lot of hard feelings about how Dallas knocked out Phoenix in the playoffs last year. That was fun. You had Portland taking it out. Yeah, Portland and Orlando. But hell, even that game, Portland eking it out over Orlando. You had the Knicks in double OT, 131 to 129. Julius Randle finally doing something towards the end there. You had the Bucks and their winning streak, 117 to 111. Are you kidding me? The Bucks. They're just crushing it right now. The one team that still scares me, by the way. They're the one team that really strikes fear into me. And man, that winning streak did come to an end, but they got right back on course. They got right back on course, and then they beat the Washington Wizards. So, big win for them. Clippers late last night, they were down. No Ja for Memphis, and we'll get into that a little later, why Ja Morant is currently serving a 2-game suspension. Spoiler alert, he did something stupid on social media. But the Clippers, they came back. They get their first win in the Russell Westbrook era, 135 to 129. And yes, yesterday afternoon, the Golden State Warriors took a late fourth quarter L against the Los Angeles Lakers, 113 to 105. Lakers pretty much controlled that game for the most part. There were snippets and parts where the Warriors made it close, but every time felt like the Warriors were getting close in that game, every time they cut it to 1, every time they cut it to 2. Quick 5-0 run, quick 6-1 run, whatever it was. The Lakers just, listen, they wanted to win that game more. That's what it felt like to me. They wanted to win that game more. Anthony Davis wanted it more. He was the best player on the court. And you know what? That's saying something because Stephen Curry came back. Great to see Stephen Curry come back on the floor in the starting lineup with the Golden State Warriors. Andre Iguodala, he played 14 minutes. He was a plus of 11. Good to see Iguodala back on the floor. And there was a lot to be, concerned about if you want to go that route. But the main takeaway is that Steph is back. Stephen Curry is back, folks. Not the greatest shooting night from beyond the arc. We expected that after an 11-game layoff. 8 of 20 from the field. And Staples, well, formerly Staples Center, as we know, has kind of been a house of horrors for Steph Curry in his career. Doesn't have the greatest numbers there. For whatever reason, whenever it's against the Los Angeles Lakers, that is, just doesn't perform well there. For whatever reason. Some players just, you know what? Certain places, just not their place. But he did score 27 points, 6 assists, couple of rebounds. Good to see Stephen Curry back. Wasn't the greatest night for Jonathan Kuminga, 2 of 10. Jordan Poole, 3 of 11. Yikes. Clay, even 8 of 18. Not the best shooting performance, but give the Lakers some credit. That is a desperate team. They came in desperate. They had a 20-point lead before you can blink. And Warriors can't keep spotting these teams big leads in the first quarter. Sooner or later, it's going to come back to bite them in the ass. It didn't on the 5-0 homestand, but it certainly did yesterday in Los Angeles. Again, 888-957-9570. If you would like to get involved, 888-957-9570. Xfinity Mobile text line. Hit me up there. 408 Xfinity Mobile text line. How about Street Clothes Davis showing up? Yeah. Street Clothes Davis. It wasn't Street Clothes Davis, and he hasn't been Street Clothes Davis. Do you know what? I'm going to give him credit. He's been the butt of a lot of jokes this season, and rightfully so, in the last couple of years. Guy just can't stay healthy. All the jokes about him sneezing and breaking a rib or breaking an ankle or pulling a toenail, whatever you want. Fact of the matter is Anthony Davis hasn't been playing in a lot of games. Lately, though, he's been the guy for the Lakers. He has to be the guy because LeBron James is out. And if you just look at the way he's been playing, it's been pretty unbelievable. He's been playing like an MVP. And that's what the Lakers need from him right now. That's absolutely what they need from him. So you just look at his last 5 games alone. 39 points, 38 points against Minnesota, 28 points against Memphis, 30 points against Dallas. Like, you just look at those games, and then, only 12 points the last time they played the Warriors. But in that game, if you remember, he had the game-sealing block, basically. So he was doing it at both ends last night. Anthony Davis is a problem. And big men, elite big men in this league remain a problem for the Golden State Warriors. So as much as we want to, be all feel good, Steph's back, yada, yada, yada. Yes, they were just coming off a 5-game winning streak at home, so we're not going to take this L too hard. There are some concerns still. And the lack of size and going up against elite big men is a problem. Now, if you just look at the Western Conference, unless you are playing said Lakers in a series, and that would be juicy for a multitude of details. Doesn't look like that's going to be happening at the moment, but the NBA is weird. It's a week-to-week league. We all know that. But you just look at the Western Conference, other than Anthony Davis, and who else do you want to throw in there that's an elite big man? DeAndre Ayton? You really scared of him if you're a Warriors fan? Yeah, he gets his. But I don't think he changes the game in a way that Anthony Davis does, or a Giannis Antetokounmpo, or a Joel Embiid. Like, those are the guys. Jokic, okay. If you want to put him in that same category, that's fine. He doesn't play defense nearly as well as those other three I just mentioned, though. Joel, Giannis, AD, elite around the rim protectors. So the Warriors, yes, as has been the case throughout this entire run, really, they still struggle against elite big men. But if you're a Warriors fan, again, not too many of those in the West. 888-957-9570. Hit me up there. 408. Morning, you had Ja showing gun. Yes, we'll get into the Ja Morant gun show, if you will. We'll leave it at that, but is this really going to be your future face of the league, Adam Silver? Ja Morant? Yikes. Got a problem there. Got absolutely a problem. Ernie Chavez from the YouTube chat. Lately, Curry has been in street clothes more than AD. He has been. That's why it's been good to see Steph back on that floor. They needed him, and I know. Is it too soon to say that Stephen Curry's the reason the Warriors lost? Is it too soon, folks? Huh? They were winning without him. I'm just starting to think, the Lakers, they won without LeBron. Are the Lakers better without LeBron James? Stop. This isn't undisputed. Steve Kerr yesterday on why the team starts slow after falling behind by 20 points basically in the first, 10 minutes? Your thoughts, Steve Kerr?
I don't know the answer to that. I know that we picked up a ton of fouls early in this game in the first quarter. We had 4 in the first 5 minutes or so. That always sets a bad tone. So maybe it has something to do with that, but yeah, it's been a bad stretch of starts for us.
It has been a bad stretch of starts, but again, they had been able to overcome those bad starts. That homestand, again. But you look again, some of those teams that they won against. That impressive? Rockets? Yeah. T-Wolves? Okay. No Karl Anthony Towns or Rudy Gobert, but Anthony Edwards was still playing. He didn't play well. All right. Blazers? Yeah. Right? Clippers? That was a good win. That was a convincing win. And then against the Pelicans. Okay. But again, you're not going to be able to get away with that every single game, especially on the road. And again, 7-24 on the road this season for the Golden State Warriors. Is this a thing, Warriors fans? Are you concerned about this road record? And let me just preface this. Do I believe that this current road record is indicative of what they will be in the playoffs? No, because I have to go by what they have shown me in the past in the Western Conference. And what they have shown me in the past is that they are undefeated in the Steve Kerr era in a Western Conference series. So that's what I have to go off. Now, is it concerning at all that the play dips so poorly on the road compared to at home? Yes and no. Yes, in that some of your younger players still, a Jordan Poole and Jonathan Kuminga, they're still capable of these kind of stinker games on the road. And it just doesn't look, and if it's not looking good early for them on the road, more often than not, it seems like it's just going to be a bad game. And if that's what it was yesterday for Jordan Poole and Jonathan Kuminga, again, Poole 3 of 11 from the floor, only 10 points, paying this guy to score. We've talked about it all year. Wasn't his best game. Kuminga, 2 of 10. Not his best game. Minus 15. So, yes, for the younger players, it might be a bit of a concern heading into the playoffs or play-ins. Now, for the veterans, I'm not worried about those guys. Looney, Green, Thompson, Curry, not worried about it with them. They know come playoff time what needs to be done, and they will get it done. We talked about it at the top. There is a sense of urgency going on around the league now that makes this NBA season down the stretch here going to be so exciting. It's March Madness, but it's not March Madness just for college football, folks. This is March Madness for the NBA as well. Just look at these Western Conference standings. It's still nuts. It's absolutely nuts. Yes, you still have your Nuggets and your Grizzlies and your Kings, but the Grizzlies without Ja, again, we'll get into him a little later. Went on with Ja Morant over the weekend. But the Nuggets, they're the class of the conference. Kings just keep winning. You got the Suns, big win there. You got the Warriors at the 5th seed. And then you got the T-Wolves right behind them by a half game. You got the Mavericks at the 7, Clippers at the 8. They were in a free-fall mode. They desperately needed a victory, and they got one last night. Then you got the Pelicans, Jazz, and the Lakers. Listen, they're tied right there with the Jazz. 31 and 34. Lakers have been playing good basketball. Can they keep it going with Anthony Davis being the guy? We'll see. But this is supposed to be, and it's going to be, an exciting end here towards the NBA season heading into the playoffs. And I cannot wait to be breaking it down with all of you right here on the pregame show, Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game. And by the way, if you want to listen to 95.7 The Game, be sure to download that Odyssey app, favorite 95.7 The Game, to take it everywhere with you, whether you're traveling around, going to Hawaii, you're going to Alaska, you're going anywhere in the United States. I think it goes overseas. Although I see people that check in overseas, they never say the Odyssey app works over there. But we'll work on that. We'll get it done with the IT people. So be sure to download the Odyssey app, take it everywhere you need to go. Not just sports. Got music, you got podcasts, you got politics, you got everything you need right there on the Odyssey app. So download that sucker and take it everywhere. And also be sure to watch every single show here on 95.7 The Game via YouTube. Search us, 957 The Game, during the search bar, YouTube. Like, subscribe. Simple as that. We appreciate you. And if you join me from 5 to 6 a.m., Monday through Friday, here on the pregame show, I will more than likely read your comments. So how about that? Can't say that for every single show. Can't say that for Damon and Ratto, Morning Roast, Willard Dibbs, Steiny Goo. I will read them all. Like right now, EJ Gomez. Good morning, bro. Back from a week of vacation in Mexico. Shout out, EJ. Where'd you go in Mexico, EJ? Did you go to Puerto Vallarta? Did you go to Guadalajara? Cabo San Lucas? Hit me up. Morali, my guy. Hey, Spadone. Good morning, brother. Dude, Morali's hitting me up on Twitter now. He's hitting up the roast on Twitter. Let's go. And hit me up on Twitter at Spadoni_Joe. Appreciate all of you. All right, back to more sound. Steve Kerr. Anthony Lamb. Now, this is interesting. Anthony Lamb now is at a point where he has exhausted all of his resources here in the NBA. Do the Warriors pick up his contract? Is he going to be the guy that the Warriors end up keeping? Well, he had a pretty clutch shots yesterday, 2 of 5, but 2 big three-pointers nonetheless. He was a plus 17. Here's what Steve Kerr had to say about what Anthony Lamb has meant for this team.
I'd like to have Lamb on the roster. He plays an important role for us because he connects a lot of lineups with his ability to space the floor and shoot the three. And then he just plays the way we've always played with, 0.5 basketball, make a quick decision, drive it, pass it, shoot it. And then he's big and versatile enough to guard multiple spots. So he connects a lot of our lineups. When we play 2 bigs, we can have him at the 3 or you can play him at the 4. So he's been really helpful for us this year, and we'd love to get him on the roster, and we'll see what happens.
So we'll see what happens there with Anthony Lamb. Again, he has exhausted his games, if you will, here in the NBA, and it's up to the Warriors now to basically sign him to a real NBA contract or not. So we will see what goes on there with Anthony Lamb. Listen, I feels like he's been a scapegoat for a lot of the Warriors' shortcomings this season. Just a group of young players, if you will. It's like, okay, I'm going to get mad at Anthony Lamb and Ty Jerome. Okay, I'm not, yeah, they've had bad play, but I'm not going to be here crushing these guys. No, I'm going to crush the veterans for poor play early in the season. I'm not crushing the two-way guys. Have they been great? No. They've been solid at times. They've helped you. And on this past homestand, the guys like Ty Jerome and whatnot have helped you. Anthony Lamb, again, you heard it from Steve Kerr. He likes his size. He's like his ability to defend. He likes his spacing on the court. Okay. Have I been that impressed by Anthony Lamb this season? No. But again, Steve Kerr trusts him, and that goes a long way. So will they keep him? We shall see. and we'll report any latest news regarding that right here on 95.7 The Game. 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. Bearing the lead here, Steve. What a mean to get Stephen Curry back on the floor tonight.
He looked great. Yeah, it's great to have him back. He's, he is who he is. He strikes fear in our opponents and opens up a lot of things for his teammates.
He certainly did. You just see him back on the court, and they have to respect him so much. You see Schroeder, you see Austin Reeves trying to pick him up full court, basically. Like, you could do anything you want to Steph Curry and try to slow him down, do the box and one, do all that sort of crazy stuff. But just having him on the floor, just even if it was a decoy, and it's not, he looks pretty damn good, I actually got to say. The amount of minutes he played yesterday, 32 minutes, played second most minutes out of anyone on the floor other than Dante DiVincenzo last night. That was impressive. That was a good sign to me, and he didn't have any, pain or anything like that after the game. That's encouraging. So there are some positives there, even in the loss yesterday to the Los Angeles Lakers. So yeah, Stephen Curry, great to see him back. Great to see the arrogant shots once again. You saw that corner three he had in the turnaround and Iggy going dancing and stuff like that. Fun to see the old Warriors yesterday, even in a loss to the Los Angeles Lakers, 113-105. Here's more from Steve Kerr on so much of their early struggles in a game.
I've been asked that a lot this year, and it's difficult to pinpoint anything. Teams shoot way better from three against us at home than they do at Chase. Again, that wasn't a problem tonight. 11 for 33, and after the first quarter, we held their free throws down. So I thought we executed defensively well tonight. This was not a game where I walk away saying, what were we doing defensively? I liked the defense. It was pretty sound. But they did a great job. Darvin's done a great job with this team. He's really, found combinations that work. He's had to deal with, injuries to LeBron and AD, and they made a great trade, over the deadline. And then, so they've improved quite a bit. And so I thought they played really well. They only turned it over 9 times total tonight. And that was a big part of the game. And I think they ended up with 4 more field goal attempts, 4 more free throws. In a game like this, that's basically 6 possessions, and that's the difference in the game.
That was the difference in the game. That's Steve Kerr there talking about that huge discrepancy on road via at home. Again, Warriors 7-24 on the road this year. It's not good, folks. It's not good. But I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm just going to be super worried about it come playoff time. I'm just not. Until they showed me in the playoffs, and maybe that's just a cop-out. Maybe that's just giving them the benefit of the doubt. Hell yeah, it's giving them the benefit of the doubt. These guys are champions. So yes, come playoff time, I'm going to have to believe it and see it to believe it. That first round series, let's just say it's against the Suns. Suns come in here, take game 1, okay. Or vice versa. Warriors go in there, take game 1, and then back and forth we go. We shall see. But I'm not going to worry about Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Kevon Looney, Stephen Curry come playoff time about this road record. I'm not. Younger guys, Kuminga, DiVincenzo, Jordan Poole, maybe. But yeah, until then, just got to wait and see. Feels like a cop-out, I know, Warriors fans, but they've earned that. These Golden State Warriors have earned the right to, you know what? Let's give these guys the benefit of the doubt come playoff time. Here's Klay Thompson after the game talking about the team's confidence, even in a loss.
Our confidence is very high. I think I've stated this before. I'm never going to doubt this group or this franchise. We still got a lot of basketball left, and we can put ourselves in a great position to finish the year where we want to. Yeah,
we're not going to overreact to one loss. You were just having a 5-0 homestand. You just had a great week, undefeated at home, leaving on a high note. Yeah, it's a sour taste in your mouth, and it's a crappy way to end your weekend if you're a Golden State Warriors fan. But you know what? Looking at the big picture here, you know what? Get up, wipe the dust off, get back to work, get another win. Everything feels better. That's how it goes. Hey, Steph, what was your rehab mindset like?
Yeah, it was just more the mental aspect of it, of not really knowing what the next day was going to feel like and staying patient through that. Rick Celebrini helped me a lot in that respect to understand what I was dealing with, the patience of how to stay in shape, but also not put the ligament in jeopardy of, having any setbacks or anything like that. Just trusting, him and his staff to know what the right cadence was to get back out there on the floor. And then this last week, give myself enough freedom to go hard enough where I get back in shape as fast as possible and get my skill set as sharp as possible. So I've had some interesting ones this year, but thankfully it's been a defined window of time where I'll be out and, full steam ahead to know when I am clear to play that I'm healthy.
Shout out Cleared to Play every Wednesday with Willard and Dibbs, 11:30, Dr. Narav Pandya or Dr. Brian Feely from UCSF. So shout out Cleared to Play, and shout out to see Stephen Curry on the floor there. Great to see him back in action once again. 888-957-9570, Xfinity mobile text line hitting me up at the 925. Oh, my favorite guy. There he is. Or woman. Either one. Don't know what you are, 925. Joe Jabroni. The Warriors were soundly beat by a sub-500 team, missing their best player. The loss capped off by the NBA's biggest phony, Draymond Green, being put on his back numerous times. That from the 925 in the Xfinity mobile text line. Thank you, 925. You lighten up my mornings every Monday through Friday. I appreciate you chiming in there. I'm not overreacting to a huge loss like that. Draymond Green, by the way, he actually had a hell of a game, I thought. 15 points. He had 8 boards, 3 assists. Yeah, he had a couple turnovers there. But listen, Draymond Green is asked to do a lot, and Anthony Davis is a tough assignment, even if he's getting switched onto him. He's a beast. Don't care if you're anyone else in the league. You're going to struggle against Anthony Davis. And I know it's a little jaded because, last time you played him, last 2 times really, Anthony Davis hasn't really done much. And you had a stinker with both LeBron James and Anthony Davis last time you guys played, and you still took the L, a big fat one. And that's 3 in a row to the Los Angeles Lakers. And I will say this. If you meet in the play-in games against this team, it might just not be a good matchup. It might just not be a good matchup. I know, no Andrew Wiggins. We're still waiting to see what's going on there with him and his situation. Hope everything is okay. But it might just not be a good matchup. And staying out of that play-in game specifically for that reason might be the best option for you. We're going to take a quick break here. Come on back. We'll get into more sound from Stephen Curry. Again, good to see him back on the floor. Warriors, they fall to the Los Angeles Lakers 113-105, 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. If you would like to get involved, YouTube, Twitch, hello, hit me up on Twitter at Spadoni_Joe. This is the pregame show, Joe Spadoni. Come on back, 95.7 The Game.
Meet Joe A,
Hi.
Joe B,
Hello.
and Joe C.
What's up?
3 everyday Joes perfecting their banking with Chase. Joe A is locking his lost debit card with a Chase.
Welcome back. Pre-game show, Joe Spadoni, 95-7 the game. Warriors, they fall to the Los Angeles Lakers, 113-105. Fall to 7-24 on the road, 34-31 overall. Still the 5th seed in the Western Conference. Stephen Curry returned to the floor yesterday. Good to see Stephen Curry. Just good to see him, pain-free, seemingly. Looked to be pain-free. Said he was pain-free after the game, and that is what's most important. Kind of a weird injury he had. Not a lot of sports knowledge on it. The interosseous membrane, if you will. Didn't even know that was a word, interosseous. So there you go. And here's Steph Curry after the game talking about being back on the floor and the team's goals for wins.
I felt great. Usually the approach, knowing how I work and my rehab return to play and all that is pretty generous in terms of the restriction or the window I want to hit with minutes and keeping a big picture perspective. But to play 32, pretty intense down the stretch. I felt like I got stronger as the game goes on. And that's always a testament to our performance staff, my guys I work with, and then obviously my discipline. Just try to approach it the right way that I can safely play that much and that hard and still feel good. Obviously not the outcome we wanted. I think Coach talked about it a little bit after the game in terms of the way that our roster is constructed, the amount of guys that you can throw in there on a night-to-night basis, the way our guys have been playing over the last 5 games and the stretch that we had at home. It's a tough transition for everybody. Me and Andre coming back and guys just trying to find their rhythm or keep their rhythm, keep their confidence and all that. That's our challenge as a team. We have to maintain trust in each other as we do that because we're all aiming for the same goal to win the highest level and understand that everybody has to be a part of that. And it's not just about me coming back. It's not just about what Andre can bring. We're trying to lift, everybody up together because we need everybody to win. This is a tough night on that front, but got to stay optimistic about where we're headed. We played solid for stretches of the game that gave us a chance to win.
They did play solid. It's not like they played horrible yesterday. It was a horrible start. Don't get me wrong. That was a putrid and horrible start, and they've been having a lot of those for the past week. So in that sense, yes. But it wasn't like it was a bad basketball game overall. It was actually kind of exciting. Again, coming into this show, we've just been talking about how on fire the NBA has been post All-Star break. All the close games yesterday, all the drama, Phoenix, Dallas, Boston, New York, just a lot of fun matchups. Bucks, they just had their winning streak snapped. And we'll get to the Bucks in a second because I don't know if any of you saw what took place in the final closing seconds of the Milwaukee Bucks win over the Washington Wizards. But kind of create a little bit of controversy, Giannis did. And we'll get into that in a couple minutes. I did want to get to this as we'll get back to the Lakers and Warriors matchup here in just a few minutes. But wanted to touch on this, was teasing it all show. John Morant, John Morant, all-star, superstar, whatever you want to call him, with the Memphis Grizzlies. Future, maybe, face of the NBA. We've been talking about it the last week, listening to a lot of the crosstalks with Willard Dibbs, Steiny, and Goo about, the quote-unquote future face of the NBA and whether it's going to be an American player or European-born or foreign-born, what have you. But John Morant's one of those guys, right? He's a young star. You see him in a lot of the commercials. He's doing his thing. He's fun to watch. High flyer, dunks, all that sort of stuff. Young, fun Grizzlies team. We get all that. Not young and fun if you're a Golden State Warriors fan. How about immature and lame for a lot of them? But again, national perspective, if you will. Well, a video surfaced Sunday morning with John Morant on Instagram Live flashing a gun. And this prompted an NBA investigation into this incident with said John Morant. And Memphis, the team, ended up suspending him for 2 games. And it started yesterday with their game against the Los Angeles Clippers. And then he will miss the game on Tuesday against the Los Angeles Lakers. And this was what Taylor Jenkins, the head coach of the Grizzlies, had to say. Quote, "It was a very tough moment for sure. We love him. We want what's best for him. We support him. It's going to be a difficult process, but we've got a great group to get through this." Okay. John Morant did an apology as well. Here's what he had to say later on that Saturday morning. "Going to take some time away to get help and work on learning better methods of dealing with stress and my overall well-being. The NBA is investigating this too." So, I don't think you've heard the last of this, to say the least. That was just a self-imposed team ban. And if you're wondering whether it was the NBA that did it or not, it was not. It was the Memphis Grizzlies themselves. And Adam Silver will have something to say about this, I am sure, once their investigation is concluded. And listen, I'm not going to spend a tremendous amount of time on this. I'll just say this. When you have the entire world at your fingertips and you are as young as John Morant is, and you have all that money and time, it can be difficult. It can be very difficult to find a lane and stick in it. But the best players, the guys who make the best off the court and on the court, they're the ones that shine the most. LeBron James, say what you will about him. What's the biggest negative you could say off the court for LeBron James? The decision? Okay. He raised a bunch of money. Yeah, it was a TV show. Yeah, it was a glorified look at me event. Also raised money. It's for charity. We're going to get mad at him for that? Space Jam 2? Yeah, it stunk. And I've had to watch it a lot because my son likes it. But is that what we're going to get mad about? Steph Curry, same thing. Exemplary on and off the court. Everyone loves Steph. Who doesn't? My 3-year-old Benjamin, who I just mentioned, loves him. Loves watching him. That's Steph Curry? Oh, there's Steph Curry. Loves watching him. Every kid wants to shoot the three-point ball because of him now. Off the field, what's the worst thing you can say about Steph Curry? He wants to get some developmental park or building next to him taken down. He doesn't want it to be... Okay, whatever. He wants some privacy in his life. I can get behind that. I don't care one way or the other. Ja, you got to figure it out, man. Because you could be squandering a tremendous opportunity to be the next face of the NBA. Steph and LeBron aren't going to be here in this league too much longer. They're going to be moving on. And then will that mantle go down to Giannis? Will it go down to Jason Tatum? I know who the most exciting player is to watch. I think it's you, Ja. I think it's you. But when you're doing this boneheaded and stupid things like flashing a gun on Instagram Live, who are you trying to be? Who are you trying to be? Are you trying to be something you're not? Are you trying to cater to a community that you want to be a part of? Because any community that's a part of when it's waving your gun at a club, that's the Plaxico Burress community. Do you want to be a part of that one? What happened to him? Do you want to be a part of that community? Come on, man. Come on. 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. Just be better, Ja. That's all I'm asking, man. I love watching you play. I want the best for you. But can we stop being the studio gangster? Can we stop with that? Please? You got kids looking up to you. And I don't want to be that guy, like, think of the children. Oh, my God. But you just got a huge opportunity. Don't squander it. And you might have already have. I don't know if your image could come back from a thing like this. Sure it will. Time will pass. He's young. I get all that. But I think we take guys like LeBron James and Stephen Curry for granted off the court when we see things like what John Morant's doing right now. All these reports, all this sort of stuff. So, just disappointing. Disappointing. I know I'm a true parent now. Father of 2, by the way. I know I feel like a true parent when I'm saying I'm not just mad. I'm disappointed, John. Disappointed. Real quick, by the way, I just wanted to get this in there before we take a break. Did you see what happened as we pivot now from the potential future face of the league to the guy I think is going to be the face of the league and might already be, and Giannis Antetokounmpo? The Bucks ended up winning yesterday over the Washington Wizards, and Giannis was a rebound shy of a triple-double. So he got the ball, walks it all the way up court, and as seconds were closing, he threw the ball off the backboard to himself. And here's how it sounded on the Bucks home television call on Bally Sports, Wisconsin.
Wizards running out of time. Kispert off the mark. Another rebound there to Giannis. He's going to finish one rebound shy of a triple-double. And that'll do it. Oh, he got it. Does that count? It's got it, right?
Okay. So again, He walks it up. He gets the rebound from Kispert off the miss, walks it up court. He's a rebound shy of a triple-double, goes to the opposing end, throws it up at the backboard and catches it in the closing seconds, and they count that as an offensive board. Huh. Interesting. Are we okay with that stat padding? Are we okay with that? There was a lot of discourse on Twitter last night, and I know we love a good Twitter argument. If Russell Westbrook did that, we'd be crushing him. Well, I think Giannis has kind of earned the right to stat pad a little bit if he wants to. Am I crazy to think that? A little stat padding? I don't care. Hey, if there's incentives around it, if you want to just get your triple-double, why not? Yes, Russell Westbrook. When Russell Westbrook does it, it's because he is a stat padder. Guy hasn't won anything. Giannis, he's earned the benefit of the doubt. He's a winner. He's won a champion. He's won Defensive Player of the Year. He's won MVP. He's earned that right. So when you compare him to a guy like a Russell Westbrook, who notoriously is a stat padder, quote unquote, you had the triple-double average for a season. Hell of a season. Hell of an accomplishment. And the guy's never won a championship. And has never been the best player on a championship-winning team. I think Giannis has earned the right to stat pad a little. What say you? 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. Just thought that was a little funny. Before taking a break here, on the other side, we'll talk to Joe Shasky for the Cross Jover, where he joins me in studio. Get his thoughts on the weekend that was in the NBA. I'll get his thoughts on the Giannis and John Morant stuff, too. This is the pregame show. Joe Spadoni, come on back. One more segment here for you at 95.7 The Game.
The Morning Roast is live on YouTube. 95.7 The Game.
Welcome back. Pre-game show, Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game. One more segment here for you before tossing it over to Bonte Hill. And this guy that joins me now, Joe Shasky, joins me now for the Cross-Jover. And Joe, we were just breaking down, for most of this show, the Warriors 105-113 loss to the Los Angeles Lakers. And listen, I wouldn't say it was a horrible loss. It was a horrible start. Like, that was just like, you can't be starting in 20-point like gaps to start off games. And it finally caught up to you. And when you go up against a guy and a team that's desperate, like Anthony Davis and the Los Angeles Lakers are, you're going to lose.
9 days ago, if I said they go 5-1,
please, you're taking that in a
cartwheels.
heartbeat. Yes,
I'm not outraged at all. I don't actually understand the outrage quite. I mean,
weird.
We can talk about lineup situations, and we can talk about who's playing when, where, what's going on with Wiggins. Like, there's a lot of real legitimate questions. Me fretting over them losing to the Lakers yesterday and Steph's return back to action is like the lowest level of concern for me. I'm not worried at all. No. In fact, I'll go this far, and I'm going to say this today. They could lose every single road game the rest of the way. I'm still taking them in every series to win one game on the road.
Yes. Like, they've earned that benefit of the doubt. Whatever you want to say, it's like, oh, well, this season, I was like, yeah, that doesn't mean squat for the veterans, though. Like, maybe, like, if you want to look at the splits for Kuminga and Poole, okay, maybe that's a little concerning. They don't play well on the road. But you know what? Come playoff time, I'm not looking at those guys. I'm looking at Steph. I'm looking at Klay Thompson. I'm looking at Draymond Green. I'm looking at Kevon Looney.
Can I ask a question on Kuminga?
Sure.
And I guess to a lesser degree, Poole. Poole shot selection can be an issue at times.
Yes.
And I would even say Kuminga, at moments in his career, has had some shot selection issues. But for the most part, I like his discernment. You're open, take that shot.
Yes.
How come when other guys miss, it's like, oh, it's a make or miss league. Had an off night. When Kuminga hasn't, like, misses a couple buckets and then everyone points to the plus minus, how come it can never be Kuminga had a, couple of misses. He makes a couple of those. It's totally different.
Well, Anthony Lamb was a plus 17.
Oh, of course he was.
You made a couple of huge baskets. You know what?
How about the end of the third quarter sequence where he bombs a three-pointer, okay, with 9 seconds left to go on the clock.
And Reeves
they
pulls
miss
up.
it, and then Reeves comes down and hits a big three.
Right in his face, too.
Yeah. Is there a plus minus for that sequence, that momentum sequence?
Well, I'm just looking at the numbers.
I know. I'm not ripping you.
No, I'm playing a bit here. Plus 17, team high. Look at that. But to your point,
I mean, that makes it out like he's the best player. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, someone might interpret that if they're like a plus minus weirdo. See, he's the most impactful player on the team.
I hate that because you know what? Just because he was on the floor when Steph and Klay and Draymond were scoring doesn't mean that he was a huge part of it. And now I'm saying Anthony Lamb had a couple big threes. That's great. He had a couple good defensive sequences. But to your point, again, it's not the end-all, be-all. And you had an interesting conversation in the show thread, and I love bringing up the show threads because that's where all the good chatter's about. And in the morning roast one, we were talking about, Iguodala. He came back with Steph, and he had 14 minutes. And he had more minutes than a guy like Jonathan Kuminga. And it's interesting. Do you see Kuminga's role getting lessened down the stretch now that Andre Iguodala's back?
Yeah, he's going to be the one that gets the short end of the stick,
right? Is that a good thing?
No, I don't think it is. And people are going to say, oh, Iggy had active hands. Good.
Plus 11, by the way, Andre Iguodala.
He had a lazy booty.
0 points.
He had a lazy booty as he was sitting on the bench for 80 games. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. The Iguodala thing, the reality is that even the most discerning, optimistic Warrior fan will be like, yeah, there's no way he's playing the 20 prerequisite games that they're going to need to qualify for the playoffs. You know who I know will be ready for those 20-some-odd games that they're going to have to play on their march to the finals? Jonathan Kuminga.
It's a good point.
I mean, literally, if we were looking at this as an 18-hole course, Kuminga is on the first hole of his career. Iguodala is somewhere near the green on the 18th hole, ready to tap in and call it a career.
Yes. He's at the Phil Mickelson point of the career, and Kuminga's at the Brooks Koepka, Colin Morikawa level.
Am I overreacting?
No, but
I'm not outraged.
I think it's just kind of frustrating because, and I felt this with you because I feel like he was finally feeling it, right? He was finally getting that confidence. He was finally like 5-0 homestand. You finally, and then
almost 30 minutes per game in the 5 wins.
Yes,
28.5.
Yes, and it felt like Kerr finally is trusting him, but then he makes a couple mistakes in Los Angeles at formerly Staples Center. Bring him in. Iguodala, you stay out there.
Well, and
Anthony Lamb, you know what? You can get 27 minutes. I was like, really?
And
Steve Kerr, did you hear what he had to say about Anthony Lamb and what he meant for this team? I want to play it for you.
Let me guess. He loves him.
He does. Here's what he had to say about Anthony Lamb.
I'd like to have Lamb on the roster. He plays an important role for us because he connects a lot of lineups with his ability to space the floor and shoot the three. And then he just plays the way we've always played with, 0.5 basketball, make a quick decision, drive it, pass it, shoot it. And then he's big and versatile enough to guard multiple spots. So he connects a lot of our lineups. When we play two bigs, we can have him at the 3 or you can play him at the 4. So he's been really helpful for us this year, and we'd love to get him on the roster, and we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens, Joe. And listen, I think Anthony Lamb has been the butt of too many jokes and hatred from Warriors. The guy's Anthony Lamb. He's not the end all be all on your team. But when you see him getting that many minutes, I understand at times. Listen,
if he didn't have the DMPs, he might double up Kuminga's minutes overall this year.
It's a good point. And I think that's what's most frustrating.
No, that's outrage from the front office. If I was part of the front office that selected Jonathan Kuminga and has been holding on to him, and you're giving Anthony Lamb almost twice as many minutes. If you prorate it to games played, minutes per game, all that stuff, he is on pace to eclipse Kuminga's minutes throughout the season. That's ridiculous. Let's just call it what it is.
Well, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but
that's my fault.
No, you're good.
I get triggered on
No. Well, do you think that is a thing with Bob Myers in that front office? What the hell are you doing, Steve Kerr?
How can it not be? If you bought little Benny a pair of shoes, okay, and he went and he preferred, and they were $100. I mean, too much for a child's shoe, but you get what I'm saying.
There's some Jordans out there that, yes.
I know, but I know people that do, and he prefers the 50-cent shoes.
Yeah. You know what? That's fine, because I would know that the smart investment would be, you know what? Let's keep these shoes on the side here. Hey, Jonathan, you know what? We invested a lot in you. You know what? That's all right. Steve Kerr, we trust him, but no. In reality, you want to show those things off. I get where you're coming from. You want to show off the Jordans. You want to show off. But listen, and it's not like the 50-cent shoes, if they were doing this analogy, they're all that awesome. Well, they don't look great. Some 50-cent shoes look good at least.
Yes.
Anthony Lamb, God bless him, I can't tell you what his best game has been this season. What's his moment that he's had?
Here's what I'd say.
I can tell you a lot of Jonathan Kuminga dunks and moments that he's had.
I mean, the game just the other night against the Pelicans, if he doesn't get that slashing dunk from the DiVincenzo rebound, I mean, he's been so good. And here's the thing. Why do you spend money on your feet for shoes, work shoes, for example? Now, all work shoes aren't made the same. You ask anyone in construction. Yeah. So you don't have long-term foot issues down the road. All right. When you buy the Payless shoes, the Anthony Lambs, it might work for today.
You need the
down the road, you're hurting yourself.
Durability.
It's the same thing I say about Kuminga. It's about the investment for now so that your feet don't hurt down the road, so that you have a guy who you could throw on Brandon Ingram in the playoffs. You have a guy that you could throw maybe on LeBron James at times if you play the Lakers. I'm just throwing out hypotheticals. Did you see Kyrie and the Dallas Phoenix game?
Hell of a weekend, hell of a game.
And you were right about cranking it up. You are 100% correct when it comes to the NBA. But Anthony Lamb ain't guarding nobody like that out in space. You're gonna need him, and it frustrates me because I feels very short-sighted, and that's the way I would phrase it. He might be an incrementally better player on offense for them at times, but this is about the long-term development. And you still lost the game anyway yesterday.
Yeah. That was the ultimate thing yesterday. And again, it was a slow start. I don't think they played horrible, but it was just a buzzkill. I understand that from Warriors fan perspective. But listen, it's not the end of the world. They get back on track. Another win here and there. They're going to be fine. Real quick, Shasky, before we wrap it up.
The bigger issue for me is specifically against the Lakers, Anthony Davis, and it's very smart of them, does not come out of the paint.
No. They said, beat me here, and you're not going to.
And when you have multiple non-shooters out on the floor, let's say it's Iguodala and Looney, Iguodala and Dre, Iguodala and Kuminga at times, they were all out there. It just, to me, you are forcing the offense to be 3-on-5, and it's very frustrating, and it clogs it up. And my biggest issue with Iguodala, he's nowhere near the shooter that he was a couple of years ago.
Not even that. And even then, he wasn't even that great.
No.
Yeah.
No. And so I think that what it ends up doing is defenses are so much more sophisticated. His passing is actually negated.
No, I can see that. And to your point, Anthony Davis, and he was the best player on the floor by a wide margin, I thought, yesterday. 39 points overall.
He was awesome.
He had 8 boards. He had a couple 6 assists there. So he had a great game. And listen,
him and Austin Reeves better than Curry and Durant?
Some are saying that. 888-957-9570. But it goes back to what the big concern for me is. And that you're probably not going to face the Lakers in the playoffs. And if you did, you better. That might not be a great matchup. And I know I might get flack for saying that. but the big man against the Warriors, they've been able to avoid it. If they get a Giannis Antetokounmpo in the finals,
Well,
I don't.
yeah.
That's what I'm. But I'm looking way down the road.
Yeah, I agree.
In the West, you don't really, other than Anthony Davis, you don't have to worry about that.
I want to see them try to guard KD. That's an
interesting one.
That's an interesting one. I think they have some bodies, but like he's going to get his. The thing with Anthony Davis is weird because Draymond used to own him.
He used to.
So what has changed?
That's a good point. I mean, but he's like, listen, his defense has been great this year.
No, it has.
I don't think I've seen like a drop off dramatically.
No.
So it's like maybe that hand was bothering him yesterday. I don't know. But to your point, Anthony Davis didn't play well the previous 2 games against the Warriors. Like, he didn't play well. They lost both of those games.
Yeah.
And then you saw yesterday it was a dramatic difference, and he just dominated.
Well, even the game where he only scored, 11, 12 points, he was dominant defensively.
He had that game-sealing block. Yes. And then the game last time when LeBron and AD didn't play well and he still got blown out. That gives me concern if you have to play this Lakers team in a play-in game.
I'm with you 100%.
You want to avoid that.
Last thing, because you're the Laker fan, the resident Laker fan.
Didn't wear the Kobe jersey today.
As I look at like just the league and just the jerseys are just out of control in terms of how many there are and forcing your non-traditional jersey on everyone too many times. Like the Warriors have worn the flower jersey too many times. Put it in the locker. I'm done with it.
I'm out on it. Yeah.
The white home Sunday Laker jersey
so clean.
Might be one of the top 5 uniforms in the NBA.
It's just so clean.
And I don't love the Lakers even 1 ounce.
Well, my favorite player, as you know, is Kobe Bryant, and that's just what that reminds me of. Like, it's just Kobe on a Sunday going up against Paul Pierce and the Celtics, something like, and they're wearing their greens, right? That's just what that reminds you of. That's Joe Shasky. You know what he reminds me of? Great morning radio, and that's coming up next with the Morning Roast.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM at HD1 San Francisco. An Odyssey station.
Bedtime is rough, even for Peanut.